I would like to welcome you to the January 13th, 2026 City of Roseville Grants Advisory Commission meeting. Please put all electronic devices on silent at this time. Agendas are available at the end of the staff table. This meeting is being live streamed on the city's YouTube channel at youtube.com/City of Roseville, California, or the city's website at roseville.ca.us/wash. And a recording will be available to be viewed on the Comcast Channel 14 and at roseville.ca.us/agenda. I will now call the meeting to order. Heather, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Malasara,
Present.
Commissioner Murray,
Here.
Commissioner Rosano. Here. Youth Commissioner Unidad,
Here.
Chair Acosta,
Here.
and we have one excused absent, Commissioner Parker, and Commissioner Meeks Harris is absent.
Thank you. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry. Now, this is the time for public comments. Public comments is a time for anyone that would like to address the commission on any grants advisory related items not listed on tonight's agenda. Speakers addressing the commission during this time are asked to approach the podium, state their name, and are limited to 3 minutes. Again, the topics must be regarding items that are not listed in tonight's agenda and are within the Grants Advisory Commission jurisdiction. The Brown Act does not permit any action or discussion items that are not listed on the agenda. No action will be taken on items addressed under public comments. I will now open public comments. Seeing none, I will close the public comments. The next item on the agenda is 5.1, approval of the November 12th, 2025 meeting minutes. I will give the commissioners some time to review those meeting minutes, and I will entertain a motion if there are no comments or corrections to those minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And now we're moving on to item number 5.2. We are welcoming the Youth Commissioner for 2026. I would like to introduce Zach Unidad, and I will offer you some time to give a brief introduction. Go ahead. Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Zach Unidad. I'm a sophomore at West Park High School. I enjoy playing basketball and hanging out with my friends, and I'm just excited to be here.
Thank you. Any commissioners want to say anything? No?
Not particularly, but welcome, of course, and we're hoping that you will do an excellent job, given that your background is in mathematics, so.
We're excited to have you as part of this, and we will say that this is the second year that the Youth Commissioner has voting privileges on this commission. So we're very excited to have him as part of our advisory committee, and he'll be reviewing all of the grants this session and will be part of that whole process. So we're very excited to have you here. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item number 5.3. We will talk about a vacancy that we now have on the Grants Advisory Commission. One of our members was elected to a different commission, which is a big loss for us. And so we have to open up and bring in a new vice chair for the 26-27 grant funding cycle. So I would have the staff give a brief background.
You more or less had said it. We did have an unexpected vacancy occurred. One of our commissioners was elected to the Planning Commission at the December 17th council meeting. And so we need to fill that position until you guys do your next, which is usually in August. So we do need a new vice chair. So if you guys would like to talk about it and vote who you'd like your new vice chair to be, and then we will make that official. I mean, it'll officially, but the move will happen for the next meeting, which will be in April.
Okay. So I will open it up for nominations at this time.
Well, I'd like to move and to nominate and the other Lauren on the commission. There's two Laurens on the commission, so yeah, I would move to nominate her or I was gonna say, or Commissioner Murray at this time.
Who do I say?
I would also agree with nominating both of those folks. Any discussion? Any additional nominations?
No, I don't think so. I don't have any other nominations.
Thank you.
Nothing to say.
So then, is it a roll call vote? We have two nominations?
You'll take public comment before you entertain the actual vote, but you could have further discussion and hear from both to see if they're both interested, and then maybe narrow it down from there or not.
Okay. I will open it up to Commissioner Murray and Manzano to express their interest.
Well, I'll start off. It's an honor and a privilege to be nominated, so I'll start there. I'm brand new to the commission for those in the public that don't know. And as I said before, I'm really looking I've known Ed before, and I was looking forward to his leadership here, but, I know there's other leaders within this crowd, and so, not knowing really any of the other members that well, I can only say I'm happy to learn quickly and do the role, but that's about all I have. And Lauren, I've met Lauren and I like Lauren, so I would certainly vote for her too.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm also honored to be nominated. Thank you. This is my second year serving on this commission. I enjoy serving on this commission. I'd be happy to serve as vice chair and work alongside you. So, yeah.
Any other discussion?
I just wanted to clarify why I particularly chose these two individuals. I've been watching on how they voted. They may be considered themselves new to the commission, but one thing as leaders, we do look at how people may not have much to say, but look what they contribute. And I will say the two commissioners that I nominated have more than demonstrated that, especially when we had our meeting to see about upcoming funding years, just to see how we may redesign something, as well as their willingness and also their previous background. They may be very shy in their backgrounds, but I've already kind of, as a commission, and I know city council has done their due diligence when they do nominate somebody to a commission, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, I will open it up for public comment. Does anybody in the audience have anything to say? Ed?
Hi.
So you don't have a motion currently. I imagine the motion would be somebody supporting one or the other, and then a vote could happen pursuant to that motion on either approving it as a commission or not approving it. So somebody can make a motion on behalf of one or the other, and if we get a second, we could take that to a vote. Or you could continue informal polling and see if you can come to consensus. It's really, you get to invent the process a little bit here.
Okay.
But the chair can't make a
Chair,
motion.
did you
Right.
have any, I'm kind of asking you because I know you do watch kind of or observe how people not only conduct themselves, but somebody who would be able to support you. So, and who has the time. I know Lauren in the past, Lozano, has made I would say an olive branch to say that she is available, so.
I would like to say that I am honored to work among my fellow commissioners. And I know that prior when we were doing the chair and vice chair earlier this year, late last year, Lauren had expressed interest then. And so I would entertain a motion to nominate Lauren as our vice chair.
I will
And Nothing against you, Mr. Murray.
Takes a lot more to get personal than that.
That was another reason why I was looking who would be very lighthearted, not necessarily lighthearted, but be able to realize, okay, don't take it personal. So I second that nomination as
And
well.
Sorry, to be clear and butt in, the chair can't make the motion.
Oh, okay. Then I will make the motion, and I'm hoping another commissioner will make the second.
I will second it.
And is this a roll call vote or an all in favor? Roll call?
Okay, Commissioner a motion by Lauren Meeks Harris to nominate Commissioner Lauren Rosano as the new vice chair, and seconded by Commissioner Malasara. So we'll do the roll call vote now. Commissioner Malasara,
Yes, I agree.
Commissioner Meeks Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Murray,
Yes.
Commissioner, what? Rosano? Do I have her?
Yes.
Okay, you, Commissioner Unidad. Chair Acosta.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion is passed.
Welcome. Congratulations.
I'm ready to read tonight.
Counselor, the youth commissioner get a vote?
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay, excuse me.
Okay, thank you for that. And we'll move on to item number 5.4, which is what our audience is here for, the applicant workshop. Can we get the PowerPoint? There it is. Okay. I'll let everybody kind of turn this, the setup is a little bit different. Okay. We want to make sure that applicants understand what funds are available and how to clarify or how to apply and clarify a few points and most importantly, answer your questions. That is the purpose of tonight. So to begin here, if we can go to the next slide. To begin, we'll cover the history of the Citizens Benefit Fund and the available funds for the grant cycle, eligibility requirements. We'll go over the timeline and funding priorities and community need areas. We will review the online submittal process, discuss the required documents, and have a few examples, provide an overview of the application scoring questions and scoring scale. Lastly, we'll talk through the application thresholds. Then we will open up to questions from the audience, and after all the questions have been answered, commissioners will provide a few brief comments about the grant cycle and application process. We will also pause in between the slides to see if any commissioners have any things to add that will help you as an applicant.
The Roseville City Council established the Citizens Benefit Fund in 1993 with the funds received from the sale of the city-owned Roseville Community Hospital. The City Council at the time voted to place the proceeds of the sale into an interest-bearing account and give 90% of the interest available annually to nonprofits for the purpose of improving the quality of life for the citizens of the City of Roseville. The remaining 10% is deposited back into the Citizens Benefit Fund to grow the principal. Since the Grants Advisory Commission was created in 1994, the Citizens Benefit Fund has provided over $17 million to local nonprofits. In past years, the REACH Fund, American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA Fund, and the Roseville Auto Mall Community Fund provided another $1.6 million. A total of $18.8 million has been granted directly to nonprofits in our community that serve our residents and improve the quality of life through a variety of programs and services. The Grants Advisory Commission has $279,940 in the Citizens Benefit Fund to award for the fiscal year 2026-2027 to nonprofit agencies to improve the quality of life for the citizens of the City of Roseville.
A few of the eligibility requirements are listed on this slide. However, you can find the full funding guidelines on the grant webpage, which is on the city website, roseville.ca.us/grants. The CBF Grant Fund is available to 501c3 and 501c4 organizations, including private school and other organizations. To clarify, what constitutes a private school due to a California constitutional provision barring the use of public funds to directly aid private schools, states a private school that is any school not under the exclusive control of the officers of the public school. Public charter schools are generally not private schools. Funds will not be made directly available for private schools unless it is clear that any benefit to a private school is, at most, merely an incidental or indirect effect, and the direct benefit is improving the quality of life for the citizens of Roseville. For example, a private school passing through funds to provide food security to its students who are citizens of Roseville has no real benefit to the private school itself, but providing a direct benefit, though, to our citizens. Nonprofits must have a current business license in the city of Roseville in order to enter into an agreement with the city. Private schools and school-based nonprofit associations like parent-teacher clubs, booster clubs, and nonprofit programs are eligible to apply, but are limited to one application per individual site. The Citizens Benefit Fund grant goals are to assist in improving the quality of life for the citizens of Roseville. Let's review some important dates to remember for this funding cycle. 2026-2027 funding cycle opened on Monday, December 1st, 2025. The grant application is available via the link to Zoom grants currently available on the grants webs page. Applications must be submitted online via Zoom grants by 5 p.m. on Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Staff will be reviewing the application for completeness during the month of February. The commissioners will review and score all grant applications during the month of March. The commission has a meeting on Tuesday, April 14th, at which time we will discuss all of the funding recommendations. This is a public meeting and will be held here in this room within the Roseville Electric Building located at 116 South Grant Street. The Grants Advisory Commission has an advisory role to the City Council. The City Council makes the final decision on grant awards, and the Grant Advisory Commission will submit their recommendation list of awardees and amounts for the Council to consider in May or June. And the most important day is Tuesday, August 11th, 2026, which is when the grant checks will be awarded by this commission at our meeting that night. The fiscal year 2026-27 is from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Does any commissioner have anything to add or comment at this time? Okay.
The Grants Advisory Commission established and the City Council approved the current grant funding priorities that reflect the community needs analysis completed in 2019. You will need to choose one funding priority, which are as follows: strategic one-time grants for innovative projects or programs, capital improvements, or new initiatives. Examples of these special grants may be new initiatives. Applicant identifies a need, service, or opportunity in the community that could offer an enhanced and improved quality of life or experience in Roseville. Innovative ideas based on models from other areas or agencies and attempting to take a new approach in providing opportunity to enhance or improve quality of life or experience in Roseville. Or one-time requests if applicants need special consideration on a single request basis. They also fall under operational mission support grants for programs or projects that demonstrate effectiveness addressing a community need. Grant recipient can reapply in future years for this priority area. And the last one is smaller requests up to $10,000, which can go towards either new programs, projects, or support existing operations, which have demonstrated effectiveness at meeting our community needs. Next, we will go over the community needs areas. On the application, you will need to choose one of the following community needs areas: food, increased access to healthier food options for lower income communities; health and wellness, improved physical, mental, and behavioral health and wellness; community and social context, improved access to arts and cultural resources for all, and a kinder, more inclusive and connected community; education, more vocational training and educational opportunities for all ages; or neighborhood and physical environment, which is improved access to safe and affordable housing for all. Are there any comments or helpful hints from the commission? Okay.
Some may already be familiar with where to find information on how to apply, but just so everyone knows, There is a direct link to Zoom grants on the Zoom Grants website posted on the City Grants Advisory webpage. You will find the link at the bottom of the page under the 2026-2027 funding cycle. The website has all of the information we are presenting here tonight as well. Zoom Grants is the software the city uses for the application process. It's also the software that we use for the reviewing process. Returning applicants will log in using your existent Zoom Grants account. If you can't access your login, please contact Zoom Grants directly. New applicants, you'll be prompted to create a new account during the application process. For submission issues, you can call Zoom Grants at the number listed on the screen. You can go ahead and take a screenshot of that with your cell phone. Click the help button in your Zoom Grants account, or for technical support, you can email them at questions@zoomgrants.com. Use a shared monitor email. These are some of the Zoom Grant suggestions from prior years. Use a shared or monitored email. This is how we communicate with the applicant. Something for all organizations to consider. To avoid access issues with Zoom Grants, it's recommended that the executive director and the application contact be two different individuals using separate email addresses. While the executive director can still be involved, using a shared or monitored email for the application contact ensures smoother transitions if leadership changes. This setup helps prevent security hurdles and ensures continued communication with the organization. Plain text is the only thing that can copy and paste into Zoom Grants. Application automatically saves, and it will time out if you're being inactive but still on the website. If the system is glitchy, clear the cache or browser and refresh the page, as it could be holding past versions of your application. Changes can be made by the applicant up until the application is submitted.
All right, let's go over the required documents that must be attached to the application. You will find this under the Documents tab in the grant application. There is a list of required documents that must be submitted as part of the application. If a document is required, it is marked in the required column. If a document that is required does not apply to your organization, you must still upload a document labeled with an NA in front of the respective filed name and include an explanation of why it's not applicable. If a document is not included and an explanation is not included, indicating why the document is not required for your organization, the application will be deemed incomplete and disqualified. Explanations do not need to be lengthy. For example, if you are awaiting your 501c3 status, provide a statement and any accompanying proof of your pending application. Use provided forms, board authorization, assurances, and certificates, and Levine Act. Signatures need to be a wet signature, or you can use DocuSign or Adobe Sign. Cannot just be typed in. If you're providing counseling services, you must provide a copy of therapist certification from California. We get questioned as to why there's so many required documents. When the Citizens Benefit Fund was created, a policy manual was established to be the guiding document to the Grants Advisory Commission and to Roseville City Council. The items are a city requirement, as it is our fiscal responsibility to the citizens of Roseville to verify current nonprofit status. Also, some items are important to the commission and help us during the review process of the application. Next, staff will be going over the documents that seem to cause the most questions, from missing items and signatures on the documents to not submitting the correct required documents. Feel free at the end of their presentation to ask questions about these required items.
Okay. Shifting gears here, you'll see the first one of the required documents is our board authorization document. It is in Zoom Grant, so you will find that document there. Please use the provided form and make sure you have all areas must be filled out and signed. And like Lauren said, wet signature or DocuSign or Adobe signed are welcomed, just not typed. And just make sure you need a date of the meeting and quorum if you had quorum and the numbers. So just pretty much all the red need to be filled out. For the next, it's the assurance and certifications. You'll also find this in Zoom Grants. All areas must be filled out and signed by the right board members, so make sure you take a look at this one because it might take you guys some time to get these signatures. You'll see for nonprofits, it's usually signed by the executive director, and for private schools, it's signed by a principal, would be the first signature. And for the second signature in nonprofits, it's usually chair of the board, and for private schools, usually the district, a superintendent, or the trustee. This form may take some time, like I said, to get signed, so I'd advise you to log in early to Zoom Grants, at least print the form and take it to your next meeting. And like I said, repeat myself again, wet signatures or DocuSign. We do get them that have them typed in, and we have to send them back, so they do need to be signed. The next form would be the Levine Act. You want to make sure you definitely use this form as well. This needs to be signed by an authorized representative, which we will rely on you to make that determination, but maybe suggest a chair or a president, CEO, executive director, or the highest ranking individual with the authority to sign and who would have knowledge of any such campaign contributions. And this is my probably least favorite form, and probably a lot of your organizations as well, the one that causes a lot of the headaches, so I'm hoping to clarify any questions you guys might have on this one. But this is the annual registration renewal form, and we need a copy of that. This one's given, it says, like I said, this does give most organizations some issues. An annual registration renewal form, or the RRF1, it's a charitable organizations incorporated in or doing business in California are required to file documents with a number of state agencies regarding various aspects of their operations. The Attorney General has primary supervisory jurisdiction over charitable organizations to ensure the charitable assets are used for their intended purpose. Thus, under the supervision of trustee and fundraisers for Charitable Purpose Act, charitable organizations are required to register with the Attorney General's Registry of Charities and Fundraisers and file annual reports. So all charities, regardless of receipts or assets, except those specifically exempt, such as religious congregations, hospitals, and schools, must file the annual registration renewal fee report no later than 4 months and 15 days after the close of the organization's calendar or fiscal year. So if you go on their website, they actually give you a calendar. So if your fiscal year ends in December 31st, the form is due May 15th. We ask that you must show evidence of filing. So most currently filing is what we're looking for. And if you filed an extension with the IRS, to include a copy of that you do, and the IRS will send you saying that there has been an extension, and you can send that to us. But as this sample, if you see on the right, usually that's where the evidence of the form was filed. You'll see the stamp at the top or at the bottom, and those are the things that we look for to make sure that it was filed. We'll get them that don't have that, and we have to send it back. So this is a really important one, and it does take time to get, so just something to definitely spend some time on. This next slide is where we go as the city to look and check on things. So definitely I would suggest you, if you have any questions, these websites have a lot of information and great tools for your organization. Next is a copy of organization's active registration with the Secretary of State. We prefer a current copy of the certificate of status, which is on the left, which you can request from the Secretary of State website. And there's the websites there. You can attach the statement of information, which is the one on the right, but it must show that it has been received with the filed stamp in the right-hand corner. Or a screenshot displaying the organization's name as listed on the grant application and its active status from the Secretary of State website is also applicable. However, these tend to be the two that we see the most and do make it the easiest part of the process to make sure your application has the minimum qualifications. Next would be a copy of your current 501c3 or 501c4, your list of board members, your agency's current fiscal year budget detailed, the City of Roseville's business license current, so it should be for this year, and a list of your key personnel for the program or project you're seeking funds for. For this particular one, it's a list of all individuals involved in the proposed project program, the activity, the effort for which funding is being requested, and noting, if any, which personnel are funded by the grant proceeds or project to be paid from the grant. Let's see, this list of required documents is also on our webpage. And any commissioners have any helpful comments, anything you guys want to add? Nope? Okay. Let's see. That's it for me.
I will just say that the required documents are the hardest part of the application process. The rest of it is all telling us all about the things that you are doing and how you're supporting Roseville residents. So please take the time to review the PowerPoint again and send your questions in now before the deadline. The staff is here to help answer some of those questions regarding the documents. So we really do recommend getting through those documents now before it comes down to the wire and might be issues with submission. So that being said, proof of ownership, copy of lease or property improvements. If requesting capital expenditures as part of, or for property improvements, you must provide proof of property ownership or a copy of the lease as a tenant. If you do not own the property, you must provide a letter from the property owner that they authorize any improvements that you are requesting funds for. 3 written estimates from a vendor, capital expenditures or property improvements over $500, the form that's provided in Zoom grants. Recently, City Council approved changes to the policy manual to update and clarify capital expenditures. So to explain this in detail, if you are requesting grant funds for a capital expenditure or property improvement, the program requires a total of 3 bids for individual items costing more than $500 each. Again, a capital expenditure is an expenditure that results in the acquisition of a fixed asset or additions to fixed assets that will have benefits for more than 1 year. Examples include the acquisition of land, existing buildings, land improvements, construction of buildings, additions and remodeling of buildings, initial, additional, and replacement of equipment, furniture and fixtures, machinery, vehicles, and media materials. The policy states that individual items and projects costing greater than $500 and less than $4,000 require 3 documented telephone, online, or written cost estimates. This means it can be a verbal quote, an estimate you got online, or a written estimate, but they must be attached to the application. There's a quote summary sheet form you will need to fill out as well as attach. It is 1 quote summary sheet per capital expenditure. The form is located in the Documents tab in Zoom Grants. It is very important for all applicants to understand this 3-bid rule applies to all organizations applying for grant funding. We understand that schools often purchase items under larger contracts. Even so, 3 bids are still required. If purchasing individual items, the required bids must be based on the cost of each item and not the project as a whole. For example, if you're purchasing a computer, microphone, and headset for each staff person, we would need 3 bids for each item being purchased. You can also use the price of an existing contract as 1 bid. But you must also get 2 additional bids in order to ensure that the grant funds are being used effectively and verbal and online bids are acceptable. Capital expenditures for individual items and projects for less than $500 do not require documented bids. Capital expenditures for individual items and projects of $4,000 or more must have 3 written bids included with the application. Telephone and online are not acceptable. Grant applications for organizations that are providing any therapy or counseling services must include a copy of each individual counselor's certification for all of those providing counseling services. Next, we will review the application scoring.
The next portion of this presentation is the application scoring questions and scoring scale. This scale will be used in the review and scoring of applications. Each question is aimed at valuing how the application meets local needs and objectives for maximizing benefit to the City of Roseville residents with these funds, particularly through community engagement, leveraging, and collaboration. The questions and scale, as well as the entire PowerPoint presentation, are provided for you online for your reference. Reminder, grant commissioners rely solely on the information contained in your application to guide us in our decision-making process. There are no opportunities to ask applicants for more information or any further clarification. Also, please include a budget narrative, which is required and states this in the application. Staff will now talk about the application thresholds and what could lead to possible disqualification.
Toby, can I pause right here? Can we go back to the scoring, please? I just want to open it up for comments from the commissioners regarding the scoring items and see if they wanted to add any comments. I just wanted to say that sometimes it is difficult for organizations to answer these questions and explain it. And we have commissioners here from all different backgrounds, but we don't do what you do. And sometimes the applications that come in, they don't necessarily go into the detail that really describe what they do and how they do it. And so I just wanted to point out for these questions, maybe have one of your newer staff review your application and your responses before you submit it. Fresh eyes, somebody that's maybe newer to the organization, that might be able to say, what does this mean, as a newer employee or as a volunteer even? Because there are some times where we read applications and we really we're not able to infer to keep it as equitable as possible. So if it's not explained as to what you're doing and how you're doing it and how that benefits the Roseville residents, it can impact the scoring. And so I wanted to open up to my other commissioners to see if they had anything to add on that.
Okay, well, for me, this is kind of probably the most difficult part. And just because we know that Roseville does great things, however, there's some people who are able to present the same thing in a better light. As she said, as Chair Acosta mentioned, get maybe one of your newer members. But one of the things, if you can make it as clear as if I know nothing about your organization, that is the most helpful thing that you can do, because let's say you have two people who have two tin cans. The tin can that tells me, okay, this is made with pasta, blah, 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 versus glue, whatever, who puts it in language that is unattainable isn't going to, it makes the process harder. I will honestly say I read through every line. And if I end up having to stop and read it like 3 times because maybe a sentence, and one thing is, and I know my grammar is not the most, but I mean, when you do these, make sure, I know it's basic, I know some of you guys in this room are grant writers, but maybe have some fellow grant writers, just because you've been doing this so long, sometimes sentences get ran in, it's not your fault, it's the program's fault, whatever, just make it it makes it easier, not just for us, but I mean, if you have to account for anything, even with your board or anything, I'm thinking, just answer the question. That's all I have to say. Keep it simple. As they say, keep it simple, stupid, type of thing. Just do that. And I'd be very appreciative, not only to you, but when you have to go out and ask for other parties or other things in the future for your organization. So thank you.
I'll make a really general comment. I think every one of you is working from the heart, so there's going to be a lot of things that all of us want to spend money on, without a doubt. But I think I'd encourage you tell us the story about the wood is going to be pretty easy, I think, because you're all passionate about what you're doing. But I'd encourage you, it's the business fundamentals and the probability of success that really matter at the end of the day. And I'm only talking about how I look at it. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to get excited about every single idea, I can tell you that right now. And what's going to determine, who gets my vote is the probability of success. I'm not going to get to meet everybody individually, because I can usually tell that way. So I'd really encourage, I think some of the commissioners said, really it's a team effort on each of your organizations, but I think keep it simple, but always think about, have I articulated the probability of success for somebody that doesn't know a whole lot about what I'm trying to get done? So think about those key levers and make sure they come to the surface. That's all I'd say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rose?
Yeah, the only other thing I'll add, and granted, I've only done this one time, write it like I've never heard of you before, ever, because there were some nonprofits I had never heard of, which was, I didn't know was possible living here, 30 years. But, write it like I have no idea what you're doing, or any of us have no idea what you're doing. Almost over-explain, but not, be too wordy. Just, come from that point of view of we have no idea what you're doing, don't think we do, because sometimes that'll lead to lower scoring. But yeah, that's my only
And
tip.
I have one last tip, and that is fill out the budget narrative.
Yes.
We need to know why things cost the things that they cost. Because again, if we don't have the context, that can also be something that, and it's a competitive year. I will say this, I have had the blessing of being able to be a part of this when there was more funds. And this year, you guys are going to make it so hard for us. And I'm so excited about that, that we have this much support. But it's very difficult when we have less funds to award. So unfortunately, that means that we are looking at things very, very detailed. So just wanted to pause and give some clarity around that. This is the reason you're all here is to know how you get the awarded. So we just want to provide some additional tips, so.
Acronyms too. I know acronyms tend to throw.
Yes.
Spell out your
No
acronyms.
Please
idea.
spell it out.
Thank you.
So this next slide, this is just to show the minimum requirement to avoid being disqualified. The application must be submitted by 5 p.m. Monday, February 2nd, 2026. In full or otherwise face automatic disqualification. All the required application documents need to be submitted. And the required annual reports for the 24-25 grant funding cycle. So if applicants do not apply and receive funds for 24-25, you don't need to worry about this. Let's see, now this might be the last year for this process as far as the eligibility determination period. We will discuss that in future meetings, but just topic of discussion. This means applications missing any required paperwork, signatures, et cetera, will be contacted to provide correct paperwork during the eligibility determination period. This time frame is roughly around February 9th through the 13th, potentially, depends how many applicants we get to go through. This period is meant to address inadvertent errors as well as manage expectations more formally upfront concerning eligibility. Most of these issues, which can be resolved over email, a meeting will not be required, but failure to respond to staff concerning application issues, whether that be in person or other means, will result in disqualification. And just to be clear, this doesn't mean is not intended for applicants to be able to submit placeholder applications. Staff also really want to stress how important it is to make sure everything is signed, dated, the correct requirements are attached to the application, as this might be the last year for this particular process. But just be really clear about that. So do your best to make sure all your I's are dotted, all your T's are crossed. But we do have this period where you'll probably be getting an email if there is anything inadvertently that we need to chat with you about. We'll do that once, and then if not, we'll move on if we don't hear from you. And so we'll let you know if your application was disqualified. Feel free to ask any questions after all this, but also this slideshow will be on the website. I'll make sure it's posted tomorrow so you can have these slides. And there's also a frequently asked questions tab. So a lot of these things that we're saying, we've posted so you guys can have it in writing as well to make it easier for you. And if you have further questions, definitely feel free to reach out and ask staff.
Thank you. Now we are going to open it up for public comment, and attendees may use this time to ask any questions they have about the grant application process. Please state your name and the organization you represent, and public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Do we have any questions, any comments? Step to the podium.
Yes, we can hear you because there's a mic.
Yes.
I'm glad somebody's walking up.
My name is Satish Nagaraj. I'm a resident over here. And, so I represent Kannada Sangha of Sacramento 501c organization. And so we are doing a lot of cultural activities and blood drives and workshops related to machine programming and AI chefs, all programs that will going to benefit all the community over here. And also we are doing a lot of sports events. And so these are all our yearly events. So my question here is actually, I saw one more line over there. Yeah, we are a 501c organization, and the business license to Roseville, what does that mean actually?
So you have to be registered as a business that's operating in the city limits of Roseville.
Okay.
This grant is specifically to serve the residents of Roseville.
Okay. Is that a chapter also will going to work on that, or is that a main office to be here, or how that works?
If you go to our city website, we have a section, I believe it's under finance, that describes the business license process and the application process. if you have any questions after that, you can feel free to reach out to staff or to me directly to help you with that. But there's a portal for you to register. It's a very simple, straightforward process.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
And
you
I
for your
think
question.
I think for nonprofits, it's $1 to register, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had a question. Hi, Donna Eckertzel from Harts Landing Ranch. We use horses in equine-assisted psychotherapy. Couple of comments on there. Thank you for the work that you guys do. Supervisory, so the licensed clinician, right? We use licensed clinicians, but we also have interns, both practicum and associate. So how do,
Associates have licenses that are issued
Licenses?
by the Board of Behavioral Sciences.
already, that would be
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
But what about practicum students that are being supervised by a licensed therapist?
Explain, are they like master's level, are they
They're
graduate
master's
school?
level. Mhm.
If they're being
So they're getting-
supervised by the licensed clinician, I would explain that, and I would include some sort of supporting documentation for that graduate
Okay.
student.
Because we do all three, because otherwise that might be educational support.
That I don't know.
Okay.
As far as
Jonathan?
the category that you're choosing,
I mean, we're supporting local students
Yeah.
to become
I
mental
think the
health
best thing to
therapists.
do is like she had stated, just do the best you can to the documentation showing for your students, if they're students underneath a licensed clinician, just as long as that information's there. Yeah.
And I apologize for being late. I was helping a Roseville resident, 13-year-old. Was there a conversation at the beginning? Maybe, is this going to be recorded so we can
This is
see it?
recorded,
Okay,
uh-huh.
so was there a conversation early in the beginning about the amount of money that was available? Last time you had kind of had a conversation about your
I
suggestions.
think it was 279,940. It was a page I read.
Okay.
Let's see here. Yeah, 279,940.
Yeah.
That one.
And I guess I'll listen to what you guys shared about what that, okay, the approach was. Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any additional questions or comments?
Hi, my name is Kathy Kosick, and I'm with What Would Jesus Do? We feed the homeless in Roseville and Auburn. 2 quick questions. On the board authorization form, I noticed the year is 25-26 on the one to download, but we're actually seeking 26-27. So should we stick with
Good catch, darn it.
just download what was available?
I'll let Toby.
Just go ahead and use the one that you downloaded, that's fine. And then I will probably make the switch tomorrow if I can. But yeah, so just, and you might just indicate that just so that I remember, but yeah.
Okay, great. And then I noticed there was no request for anything like a balance sheet. So basically, we're just providing the commissioners the budget for the program and the budget for the agency, and that's it.
Correct. With the budget for the program, with the budget narrative.
Yeah.
And then the overall budget, operating budget.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Tammy Morgan, Placer Justice Foundation. So just a quick question, I just want to make sure, since you outlined it as one of the most important documents, the RRF1. So if your year end, your fiscal year is December 31st, it says it's due on May, but since we have to do the application on February, we would just do last May's? Okay, I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
I'd have to submit it earlier or anything like that for the
No,
board.
if some have submitted, they could submit that, but yes, so your most current would be last year, obviously. And then if we do go into contract, then we may just look that up to make sure that it has been filed and taken care of, because funds won't be awarded until.
Until after that May.
Right, right,
Okay.
yeah.
That was it?
Any additional questions or public comments? Come on up.
My name's Lori Brandt. We're from All Clutter Aside. Just to follow up on that, we just filed our CT one, and it's a 90-day, we filed in October. Just got denied last week. They changed their forms, so we now have a new one. Like, it might not be back in 2 weeks. What do I do?
This is for the RF1 or the CT1?
Yeah, because we haven't, even- we're still trying to file the CT one, right? So we filed in October. We got a letter on December 30th that they changed their form, and we used
wrong.
last year's form and now it's this year's form.
Yeah.
So we redid it all, sent it back in, but like, I don't honestly know if it'll be here by the 2nd.
I would
of
say attach
February.
everything that you have, especially that letter with it. And then if there's questions, and it does, a lot of times we'll have forms that'll come in late, you can email them to us late, or we could be in contact, and then we can attach it to it late. If you get it after you've submitted and we're still in the review process, then you just need to let us know.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So just a little description. next to that would be
Description,
effective.
because that's just what helps us versus me then having to reach out and say, okay, what's this, whatever you can give regarding that. And like you said, if they sent you a letter, I would attach that as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Any additional public comments, questions?
My name is Katja. I work for Child Advocates. Since there is limited fund, do you have recommendation about how much you should apply for? Or,
We do not.
okay. Thank you.
Need, right?
Hi, Jonathan.
I'm Jennifer. I am potentially applying with the Valley Foothill Watershed Collaborative, which is sort of a parent organization to Dry Creek Conservancy. But one thought I had, given, the tightness of the funding, is whether you ever do a partial funding, so that if you had your, proposal with kind of, parts to it, if you can ever do partial funding.
Yes, we do partial funding. We do try to fully fund as much as we possibly can. And depending on how the applications rank out, we will do partial funding for those that are not able, we're not able to fully fund, and we have funds that are still remaining to be awarded.
Great. Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hello, my name is Morgan Mariano. I'm with the Special Olympics Northern California. I just had a quick comment. I was actually the youth commissioner about 10 years ago, so just wanted to give a quick congratulations to Zach. It leads you great places. You might even be back here as a possible applicant, but just wanted to say congratulations and thanks all for the work that you guys do.
Thank you. That's great. Seeing no additional public comments, I will go ahead and close the public comments and move on to the commissioners for any of their closing comments or tips that they might want to share one last time to further assist the applicants in their process.
Okay, hopefully everybody's good. You have phone numbers, emails, and know how to find Zoom grants. Thank you for those who have applied and are reapplying again, or those just brand new. Just follow the directions as much as possible. And if you need to, I've heard in years past, people have collaborated with each other, other organizations, and have shown support for each other. And I notice those are the applicants that tend to do well. Collaboration is key, and so you have the city, you have Zoom grants. Unfortunately, we cannot be directly involved, but what we will do is take into mind, if you write well, and show outcomes, you have a better outcome.
Anybody else? Okay. I want to remind our applicants that tonight's application website will be on the website. And a copy of the PowerPoint will be uploaded possibly tomorrow, but it will be available to view online at the city's website. There's also the FAQ available online. And lastly, from now until City Council makes the final funding decisions, we as commissioners will not be able to visit, tour, or discuss anything with any agencies. And with that, we're going to pause and take a quick break. You are welcome to stay for the remainder of our meeting where we're going over the scoring process, or you are invited to make your exit. Thank you. I think they are recording it, yes.
So
Yeah.
you can reach out to either Toby, it's in the, it'll be on the PowerPoint, you can reach out to me, and we can connect.
I was right across the
Totally
street,
fine.
and I looked at, I said, oh, they're across the street. And I literally like ran over and was like, oh my, and I was here like, I should have saw the
No
light.
worries.
No problem.
No
I was
worries
going, I
at
was
all.
going by what they had as listed at the dinner. I have
Gotcha.
that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I admit,
I got here like insanely, I was like the other side of that. I was like, I don't know where
me
I'm
too.
going.
I was
pulled
here at
in
like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, same.
yeah, I was here about 5:15 and then I realized after 10 minutes, I realized, oh.
We just, yeah, yep,
No, I
yep.
was
We've
saying.
covered everything. We're just going to talk about some scoring.
No, but one of the policemen just like said, oh,
You're good.
That's a shame I'm banned from being a commissioner now.
Stop it.
Oh my
Stop
goodness.
it.
I can't follow basic direction. That's why I nominated you.
More detail about
No, the following
coordinate
direction.
Well,
no.
So I think we talked, yeah, I think we talked
Commissioners
before,
are
yeah.
going
Forgot we were in
talk
this
about
building.
how
I
this
was walking by,
methodology
you know, after
and
dinner,
scoring
they
works.
gave us
But everybody's welcome
the
to.
commissioner
And
for his
just feel free to
appreciation.
drop me an email, call.
Yeah, I don't think you were there,
Was
but
that December?
about November, October, late October.
So it is, and every year it's kind of what we're going to talk about right now.
They gave us my half
They all understand the scoring process and what to go
and it
through.
says tonight's meeting was across the street. If I was like that, that's fine.
Yeah, because I went off the email.
I worked with you at that point, or if it was.
The chair?
No, I know, sorry. I purposely have this, so if we ever have to reference something.
Talking about it is hard. I know it can come here and
We're going to come back together for our second presentation of the evening. We as the commission are going to be talking through the current scoring process of the 2026-2027 applications. And since we have a commissioner in the audience that has been part of the current process as we have now, I'm going to open it up for public comment in the beginning and ask Ed Cruz to join us in this discussion. If you can put the PowerPoint up on the screen for us, please. Okay. Kick off. So this year, as we stated earlier, we have $279,940 funding to be awarded for the fiscal year 26-27 Citizens Benefit Funds. Next slide, please. We utilize Zoom grants. We provided a Zoom grants overview a little bit earlier. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the city staff, and I don't know if you have anything to add about Zoom grants.
No,
for your
that it
part.
is a process that you can go through, and it's pretty straightforward. They try to make it as intuitive as possible, but yeah, the first couple applications, it might just take a little getting used to.
Yes. Highly recommend getting in there at least a week before it's due and playing around with it, even utilizing like a Word document to write out your responses and then going back and forth the first time you're using it. Next slide, please. The application scoring process and tips. I'm going to open that to Ed for public comment briefly on the historical background on how we came to the current scoring process that we are using.
Okay. Well, good. And thank you for allowing me this time to be able to provide some insights in regards to how we got to where we are today. Again, I'm Ed Kriz. I was a previous commissioner, but I've moved on to Planning Commission, but I think I still have some contributions, and I just love this process, and I love what you're doing to be able to help those that are serving this community make a difference in this community. The last time we were together this summer as we were doing the Check Awards, there was a lot of discussion in regards to maybe we could do things a little bit differently in regards to how we make awards, and I know that you'll have some of those discussions in the future, but this is kind of a reminder as far as this is not a discussion as far as possible changes this year. This is how you got with the policy manual that you have now that you'll be using to rank, score, and award the grant funding that is available this year. Back in 2012, the Commission had a work group along with staff, and they kind of did an internal review, and they went back and they looked at the historical awards. They looked at the recipients and the number of applications, and they did a thorough job of looking back, and they said, here's some things that we might be able to do to look forward. Well, in 2019, the decision was to bring a consultant in and to help us finish that report, which was, a community needs assessment. And Kone Consulting, they came in and they helped do that. What are the community needs and how better to be able to do the process of making these awards. So it was a pretty good process. The report is actually on the website, on the grant website. You could actually go in there. You could pick up the community needs assessment. But with this, there were recommendations that came out. Well, actually, let's talk about the process that was gone through that Kone used to be able to identify those community needs. First, they included 26 key informant interviews. They had 2 community workshops where all of the applicants as well as other participants were involved in giving some feedback. They did online survey. They garnered 673 different online responses, and then analysis of extant data, reports to identify the community needs, resources, and opportunities. And they put all that together and came up with their process. There was a couple things that came out of this that were interesting. The first is Kone came back and says, you guys realize that communities don't do this, right? They do not have this type of resource available to be able to help nonprofits be able to work within the city of Roseville to increase the quality of life. They said this is special sauce, but you know that this is what happens, and this is one of the things that makes Roseville a special place, is because it has those sort of things. But there was also another thing that they realized was this is great stuff that is happening, and it's been happening for 30 years at this point. Very few people know about this, right? Both applicants as well as people in the community understanding. They know Roseville's a special place. This is one of the little facets that makes it that way, and they were very unaware of this. So these are some of the things that got included in their recommendations as far as what we might be able to do. So before we get into the Kone recommendations, let me talk a little bit about what we were hearing from council at the time. It was kind of getting to a place where it was your work is going to be hard when you get the applications. You're going to realize it. And one of the most difficult things is saying no, because sometimes there's just not enough money to go around. So there was a couple things that were happening. One of them is most of the applications were mission operational support. Here's what we need to pay the utilities and keep the lights on. The other thing was, it was because we don't want to say no, let's just give everybody a haircut and give everybody a little bit to be able to move the efforts forward. Well, council, in their interviews, came back and said, really wanted to have funds available for new and initiative, new programs. It's the, what can we do to encourage risks within the nonprofits of something, trying something new, maybe a new service model, a new element, to be able to help them take that risk, to be able to then find a different new way of being able to serve within the city of Roseville and benefit the city of Roseville. They understood that there's still a need for that missional and operational support for many of the nonprofits. And you'll see that there's a lot of different types of nonprofits. There's going to be the large ones that have professional staffs and grant writers, and then there's going to be ones that are smaller and run by volunteers that don't have the resources or the expertise in putting together applications to try to address some of those for the smaller ones. Look towards fully funding requests, and you'll see some of the application questions. So it's the, if you can't get fully funded, because there will be a break point where it'll be partially funding, but if it's something that is, the project is dependent on full funding, they need to have full funding or they're not going to be able to do the project. So push towards giving full funding on projects, understanding that the nonprofits are going to be asking for what they need to be able to do that particular project. And then really focus on making sure that it's really one goal. And this is related back to the sale of the hospital, which was to make Roseville healthier, okay, in general. And then we've already talked about this, or you did in your workshop. We were looking to improve access to safe and affordable housing, a kinder, more inclusive, connected community. It was improved physical, mental, behavioral health and wellness, more educational and training opportunities for all ages, right? Improved access to quality arts and cultural resources for all, and increased access to healthier food options for the underserved within the community. So we rolled all that together, got all that information. We had the, and then we looked at the Kone report and said, okay, where's the low-hanging fruit? What's the stuff that we could implement now? And couple that with the fact that we're COVID bound. So we were having Zoom meetings. We had 2 groups of workshopees managed by staff, and we were looking at, okay, how might we be able to manage taking some Kone recommendations and coming up with recommendations for modifications into the policy manual, which was then forwarded to City Council and approved and developed into the policy manual that you currently have. And again, you've gone through this. It is the service categories: neighborhood and physical environment, food, physical, behavioral, mental health, community and social context, and education. Those are the, where are we at? Manner of, yeah, the one before this, the slide before this. There we go. And then also in the funding priorities, this is where we kind of came into that strategic efforts. These are going to be the things that are going to encourage that new, innovative, out-of-the-box thinking potentially. It's going to be new initiatives, innovative ideas, one-time requests. Understand there's still a need for operational support grants, and then to address this with smaller requests, request up to $10,000. Okay. Then some of the other recommendations that were coming out. How do we increase the collaboration? You know, when to increase the sharing that happens within the service providers within the community, help getting the word out as far as the grants and the impacts that are happening. Promoting the outcomes. This was what generated that September meeting where we invited the applicants and the awardees to come in and share what they have done in the community. And it's amazing to be able to see that, but it's to get the word out in the community as far as what the amazing work that is going on, and have them an opportunity to be able to, in this forum, celebrate that and be recognized. We have the measuring success, so we have a report. The year-end report is summarized, included on the website so that we could have that information out there. And then the scoring methodologies, this is what came out of that also. This is what will take up a lot of your time in regards to how you score the applications, how they get accumulated to try to remove the bias that is going to happen, and then put that together to come up with some recommendations for moving forward. And then, so as far as the commission ranking process, staff will provide a spreadsheet. Some of you have seen that, a couple of you are new to this, and you'll recognize it when you see it. But it is basically a spreadsheet in the different categories, and then what you'll do is you'll look at the applications, you'll do your scoring, and you will rank them so that all of your applications within the categories are ranked accordingly with a recommendation funding amount for that. You've got to rank them all, and even you've got to identify if there's abstentions, if there's something where you have a conflict of interest or you're part of that particular effort, that you'll need to not rank that, but you must make recommendations for all the funds to be awarded. And then once completed, those are all aggregated together. And the ranking process needs to be consistent with the council-approved categories and the needs. So they will be aggregated, they will be ranked, then you'll be able to look at that together as a commission and make decisions in regards to where those award points are. We talked about the scoring questions. These are the numbers that you will be awarding, but I really wanted to kind of go through some of the things to consider for your individual rankings, because especially this last year, typically when I would look at the overall ranking of accumulated versus what I had, I didn't have access to everybody's scores. I had mine and then the aggregated, and I looked at them, and most of the time they were pretty close, or they kind of trended in the same direction. We seemed to be a little bit, I was way off this last time, and part of that, I suspect, was maybe the difficulty in saying no, maybe trying to spread things around, or maybe have biases in regards to what's important, and those things will come out in the ranking. But things to consider is how to define increasing quality of life in Roseville. That's an individual thing that you'll have to define for yourself in regards to what is increasing the quality of life in Roseville. And some of the things to consider are the number of clients served through agency funds. Sometimes it might just be a half a dozen. Sometimes it's going to have more of an impact or a different impact in the community. Consider funding use in Roseville as opposed to county or region-wide. It is Roseville funds. It's not required that it's all used here, but that is an edge in regards to we're trying to increase the quality of life in Roseville. But our surrounding areas does that also, right? Educational opportunities. I've always been big on that in regards to making sure that kids are getting the opportunities to be able to learn new skills, be exposed to new things, especially when you start looking at diversity that we have now in our community, to be able to address some of those things or help agencies that are working on some of those things. There's helping the homeless, life struggles, mental health population, and education sometimes comes into that with helping educate some of the adults in regards to how they can make better life decisions in regards to moving forward. Community connection events, music in the parks, community getting together, arts and theater. These are all things that are part of that holistic mix of what is increasing the quality of life in Roseville, and then also make it healthier too at the same point. And then consider recommending fully funding requests based on the application information. And there will be a point where it's, yeah, we'll be able to fully fund this, and we'll partially fund this, and then unfortunately there's some no's that are going to have to be out there depending on the number of applications and the money that is available. So it is amazing hard work, but I was looking forward to it, actually. But this opportunity now has presented itself that I'm not going to be able to be part of your team, but I've got confidence that you'll be able to take this as you go through it make your own notes in regards to, okay, this is clear, this isn't, and then you can potentially have some discussions in regards to how you might want to change what that scoring looks like, and then take that through the process of taking it to the city council, having it changed in the policy document and moving forward. So, excuse me.
Thank you, Ed.
So anyway, yeah.
We appreciate your historical perspective.
Yeah, so
That's
it
super
was a
helpful.
process getting here, and
Yes.
but it's not set in stone.
For sure.
You could tweak it, but there's a process to change that policy manual with the council
Yes.
approval. All right.
Thank you.
So thank you guys.
I have a couple of things to add before I open it up to the other commissioners. I do highly encourage our newer commissioners to look at the policy manual and the Kone report. In the back of the Kone report, it was helpful for me when I was the first on the commission. It really does, it has a complete diagram and kind of a definition as to what a healthy community looks like and some of those targets. And it is a good presentation to read. And the other thing that I would encourage our commissioners is to be consistent across the board. As Ed pointed out, sometimes there is biases. We all have a heart for the community that we live in, and sometimes that can impact how we look at things. And so to remain objective as much as possibly can, but to maintain consistency. So if you are scoring one application and you notice that it was missing this element, and then another application is missing that same element, but you, I don't know, care about that cause a little bit more, it's being able to identify what you're marking down for or what you are giving full credit for, and making sure that that's consistent to be able to be as equitable and objective as possible, which that's what makes this really hard. Inevitably, we are comparing apples to pineapples across the board. We might have 5 or 6 applicants that are talking about feeding people, and literally apples to pineapples. And so we're sitting there with, is it more important to have a conveyor belt so we can get more food packed to get out to the community, or is it more important to have people in the community handing out the food because people don't know how to get to resources? And those are some of the things that they might be outlining. It's, did they outline what they're doing when we have multiple organizations maybe working with the same population? So review the Kone report, look at the questions and the application that we have online, look at the Zoom grants now, you have access to it. So you're able to look at what the questions are in there and how they might line up with the Kone report. So you have a strategic way of, again, trying to be as objective as possible. And then be aware that the number of points possible for each section. So if you have 15 points in one section, you only have 5 in another. So you have to have kind of your own scoring rubric of how you're going to determine if you're taking points off for something that is not in the application and vice versa. And again, trying to maintain that consistency, because that can be challenging by application 22. Right, so you want to have that scoring rubric and making sure that you take breaks as you're reviewing them, and that kind of thing. And the thing that I always keep in mind is that we're reading about such amazing work in the community, which is why this is so hard and such an honor to be a part of. These are really big impacts that are happening. And so for myself, I have to come back, and I think Lauren said it earlier, is if I read it 2 or 3 times and I know how it's going to happen, then I tend to rank those higher than those that I have a general understanding of what's happening, but they don't really tell me how. How does that work, or how does that impact the population that they're looking to impact? So that's my personal kind of approach to trying to be as objective and consistent across the board. I hope that's helpful, but I would open it up to my other commissioners to add to that.
Well, not to what you said, but I know we've had debate on, because there is a section where we can leave remarks. And I know I don't think this applies to anybody who's in the room, but I do know that I tend to make my remarks public.
I do.
And would you, I don't know if you have that authority, but as chair, are you, for the newer commissioners, would you suggest that they maybe put their remarks, make it public?
I will say that we all as commissioners have the opportunity in Zoom grants, and I've gone back and forth with Ms. Toby about this, because they only give us 1,250 characters. That includes spaces and punctuation. And I am a social worker by trade, and I could be wordy. So I have to limit it. However, I have known, I've worked in organizations, I've worked for agencies, and I know that when people or nonprofits apply for funding, one of the things they look for is feedback in order to do well the next time or know what they did well this time. And so for me personally, I do use all 1,200 characters, and I do put comments in there if somebody scores really, really well, or if there's something that's missing, I let them know what was missing, because they are able to see that in Zoom grants. That is a personal preference. There isn't policy on requiring that or not requiring it. I do that personally just, again, for transparency and because I want organizations to know what they did well and what I felt was lacking in an application. So I would open that up to my fellow commissioners to determine how they want to do that. We do discuss them openly at the funding meeting. So I think it's whatever your comfortability is with that. That's just why I choose to do that. The character limitations, though. It's a thing.
Let me just jump in just a little bit more. Yes, I would put those in. I didn't put them in the open, but most of the time it was a reminder of me as I was looking at the applications, and you get in about 15 of them, and then it's just like, okay, I'll go back to that one and say, here's some notes here in regards to try to reminders in regards to why scores were the way they were as you get into them. And then the other thing, and this is Commissioner Murray had alluded to it earlier, it's just you could read the application as far as the what, but look at it as far as the why. Why is something being done, and why is this organization engaging in community? And that's what really puts the heart into these decisions, which makes those no's that much more difficult. But
For sure.
it's the why versus the what, and they're both important, but don't weigh one more than the other.
For sure. Thank you.
I have one comment, and again, I'm new, so I'm just kind of learning the process, but I was a board member for a large one that had the resources, so what I hear a lot of us talking about is sort of, how do you tell your story? And do you punch all the forms? That's what I hear. And so what I'm really interested as a commissioner is, and I'm more of a business person, and it's kind of back to that probability of success. There's two things that are banging in my head right now. Number one, and I don't think we have it, but I like the old post-completion analysis kind of thing, So if I went through the process last year, you told a great story, but did you deliver the goods? And I've been in enough situations where, not always the case. You write a great story, and I'm going to give you all the money you want, but if I don't check you again, you're telling the same story again. And so, and again, I'm not throwing any water on our process because I think it's there. I'm just telling you how my brain's thinking.
We do
we
talk
have had that
about
discussion.
And so I wanna-
previously what their outcome was, because I remember, and I'm not going to name the organization, but there was one particular organization because I was like, well, they asked over 200 people, they didn't, but I'm exaggerating a little bit so nobody can't, Commissioner Meeks Harris said, but the point is, we do discuss, and that, I'm glad you're bringing that up to remind, as a reminder, like, you could tell a great story, but if, let's say you say you're going to serve 100 people and you only served, like, say, 5 people, there's a problem.
Well, and I'm hoping I can see the problem before they tell me that. I'm hoping they say they're going to serve 100, they're going to serve 1,000 people, and they're telling me how they're going to do it, and they got 2 people doing it.
Right.
And I can already deduce that
Right.
they ain't going to do it.
Right.
I'm just saying how my brain's thinking, and I'm not pouring any water because these guys have done amazing work over these 5 years, and it's come out beautifully. And I know it's all there, but I'm just telling how I'm thinking. And because the other thing, I'm hoping that the applications will tell me, I'm a big ROI guy. So if I'm going to pay $1, how many am I impacting? Ed's got a process that's going to impact 10, but this young lady's got one that's going to do 50, same dollar. I want that 50, you know? I'm just hoping that the application flushes some of those things out, because to me, you know, I'm trying to differentiate between telling a good story and punching, you know, signing all the forms, because there's a lot of people gonna do that. They're gonna get that right. So it's how do I kind of get to that next level to really make a good, you know, objective decision to award something that I feel really good about, the goods are gonna get delivered.
I think that's a really good point. I think one of the things that that gets missed a lot is what need are you fulfilling within the city of Roseville? And so, well, I serve the homeless, so it's kind of like, well, it's obvious. It's not, because there's 5, 6, 7, 12 organizations that serve the homeless in very different ways. So what is the need that you're fulfilling, and how is it that you're doing that, to your point?
Well, that's a good point, because then you're bouncing, when I think of homeless, you're balancing, I gotta feed them today.
Right.
But I want solutions that are gonna change the paradigm
Right.
tomorrow, you know?
Right.
So how do I balance those?
Right.
Again, I'm talking out loud, so this is bogging the public forum here, and I apologize, city, I'm new, I'll sharpen it up.
No, we rather it be, and if it means you need to speak offline, but I mean, I'm glad
Probably
that,
do.
no, but I mean, I'm glad that you're bringing, because the rate of return, especially when funding is tight, but even before funding was tight, I could tell from my observations, because this is my 3rd year, and if you want to go back to YouTube videos, you know, and things like that. But one of the things we have discussed, and that's why in future, that's going to more, and that's why I believe council as well, we wanted more business-minded people to be a part of the process as well. And that's why I believe part of the reason why you were selected, I don't want to read into council, but I noticed how they bring in people sometimes that feel a certain need to make it more balanced. So you just don't have a bunch of people who are all social workers, all teachers, and all cops or
I
something.
100% agree. I'm looking forward to that diversity in our backgrounds, it's gonna be great.
Anybody else want to?
No, I think it was a good presentation. Thanks, Ed, and for me being the first time, right? I'm pretty sure when I'm going through the application, this will certainly help, and then we can make more informed decisions. Thank you.
My only other quick thing to say to all the commissioners is give yourself more time than you think.
Yes.
Don't think, oh, I can go 15 minutes and out. Nope, give yourself 30.
And the last thing that I wanted to remind everybody on the commission, in September, we had a pretty September?
Yeah.
Maybe August? In the fall, we had a very robust discussion
Yes.
about something that Ed brought up a little bit, and that was the disparity in the scoring. We had staff go and ask council for direction, because we have a new city council. And they came back and asked us for recommendations. So is it the April or May?
I do May.
May meeting?
Yeah.
So in either the April or May meeting, we will have that as an agenda item. So as you are going through your applications, please take notes as to the things that maybe gave you pause, or about the process, or things that maybe we might want to add to the policy manual, refine in the policy manual, those kinds of things. Because you'll be surprised, you'll be like, oh, I'm going to remember, like, this was so ingrained when I was reviewing in March, and then April comes and you're like, so spring break was great. And I don't remember what was giving me a problem. So please, so we can have that discussion and provide some really good recommendations to the council, because we do have a new city council, and so they're looking to see what kinds of things that we need to refine. And one of the things that we talked about was, we did go through a pandemic as a community. Our population has grown by 25,000 people, I think was the last demographic that I looked at. And so the needs are still focused on the health of Roseville residents. Has there been adjustments that we need to look at, and what guidance with a smaller amount of funding are we looking for from council? So.
I have one other question, and just, I'm trying to think in terms of my prep between now and when the grant deadline hits. what could Commissioner Murray be doing in that time to be ready for the flow? So I'm effectively using my time, and I wrote down policy document, right, the
Yes.
policy. I wrote down the Coney report, and I
Yes.
said, get familiar with Zoom grants. Is
Yes.
there- Is there anything that I'm missing that I should spend time with in those three things?
And just to recommend, if the Zoom grants, what you can do too is you could pair up with a commissioner that maybe it's been in it to show it a little bit to you too. I know Nina's been in it, Lauren's been in it, both Laurens actually, and even Neva who's not here. So if you wanted to send out an email and get with them so they could show you kind of the process, what it's
Yeah.
gonna look like on your end. We've
Yeah,
had
test drive it before I get behind the wheel, yeah.
commissioners do that for training.
Yep.
So feel free to reach out to each other. We do eventually want to do a training video if we can get to it, but if not, then just in the meantime, definitely.
We're going to get to it.
Yeah.
Good thought, yeah. okay.
Yeah, so definitely it's on the backside. And then I did give you a sample of that Excel spreadsheet that you guys will get from me. That kind of just shows where you'll be plugging your information in, and how it kind of correlates. And you got to make sure all the numbers match at the end, because if they don't, I get back in touch with you. 'Cause
So
when
will I see that within the next week, so I can start getting warmed up to it, that spreadsheet?
No, the
You have it
spreadsheet,
there.
yeah.
I gave you a
You have a
sample.
copy of the
Oh,
sample
sorry.
in the packet tonight. We don't get this until we're done with our ranking. So she gave an example to show you how it's broken out.
Okay, thank you.
Every
I
box has to be
apologize.
filled.
That was below my other thing, okay.
So the applications will close on February 2nd. Then we will start the review process to make sure that all the qualified, everything looks good. And then you guys, usually, I'll try to, I think March 4th is when I have it to release to you guys. However, I will try to get it to you sooner, so, because I know it does take time. And then I think it's March 29th, I need to have everything back, so like those forms, because then for our April meeting, that will be in here, is when you guys discuss the funding, of who's getting funded, and then the recommendations that you want to propose to council. And then we'll take that to council, usually May or June.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Then I will officially close public comment.
Do we have any public comment?
Do we have any additional, sorry, do we have any additional public comment? Yes, please. My apologies.
Hi, my name is Dr. Amira Halawa. I represent Wellness Within Cancer Support Services. I don't know if this will be relevant to this funding cycle, but I'm curious if you have anything built into your scoring that has implications for equity between nonprofits. For example, I saw that there are some that have been awarded several times, and they're probably more resourced, I'm guessing. So I was just curious if that's something that maybe is discussed in the Kone report, or is something that you all have considered in the past?
It is not built into the current scoring. It's not in the Kone report. It is something that we did discuss last fall, and it is something that we will be discussing in May. There currently isn't anything, it isn't weighted scoring. It is averaged, I think. And that is something that we brought up in the fall of trying to address that, because there were some new commissioners that also noted that. And the Kone report really does talk about innovative and new programs. And so we were looking at, that's why Ed gave us the historical background of like all of that process. And one of the discussions that we wanted to have after this funding cycle to then get some more guidance on that from council. So it has been brought up and we have discussed it. We just haven't, there's nothing in there currently that has like a safeguard, I guess,
Okay.
if that's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah. I was just curious. I've participated on some evaluation committees before,
sure.
and we usually adjust the scoring for
Right.
that to help those
Yeah.
smaller organizations.
For sure, yeah, I'm also part of some federal processes, and they weight their scores in a different way. So there's lots of different ways to do it. It's just something that we have to discuss as a commission and then bring forth recommendations. And ultimately, it lands with the city council to determine how they want us to move forward with that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no more public comment, I will go ahead and close public comment. And thank you all for staying and participating. And we do have one last thing with the staff. The last part on our agenda is number 6. And we've made it to the end of the meeting. This is the staff announcement section, and we also have a presentation. I get to do it?
You get to do it.
I get to do it.
You've got the.
Okay. So Ed, would you please come to the podium? Can I sneak behind you?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, of course.
So we have a gift for you and a lovely resolution. But I'm going to read. Would we read it dramatically?
Yes.
Absolutely.
This resolution says, whereas Ed Kriz has began his volunteerism with the Grants Advisory Commission in August 2018 and served consecutively until December 2025. Whereas during Ed's tenure, he served both as the vice chair and chair, demonstrating his exceptional leadership and commitment to the community advancement. Ed contributed to the development of community needs assessment and provided input and historical information to the consultants to help develop the processes we still use today. And whereas in 2022, the Grants Advisory Commission received $1 million in federal funding from the American Rescue Plan Act to be distributed over a 3-year period to local nonprofit organizations, where the commissioners worked hard to meet the strict federal government's guidelines and aid our local nonprofit organization. And whereas Ed played a vital part contributing to the refinement subcommittee, where he, along with other commissioners, reviewed and recommended improvements to the application process. And whereas Ed is accountable for awarding, get ready for this, $3,253,561 to the nonprofit organizations in the region, enriching the lives of the Roseville community during his 7.5 years of service with the Grants Advisory Commission. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Roseville, California, that Ed Kriz be commended for his 7.5 years of outstanding service and dedication to the Grants Advisory Committee. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get all you guys. Yes, yeah.
No, thank you very much. No, this is, it has been a ride and it's been fun. It's been exciting and, yeah, you're making a difference. And I'd like to think that I was part of that. Right?
I'm personally grateful for your mentorship on this commission.
We all getting?
Yes. We're all walking.
Yes, we are. Squeeze in, Murray.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Good.
Okay. Toby, you want to close us out?
Other than the application closes February 2nd, to remind everybody to get them in. Ed, thank you very much for your service. Truly enjoyed working with you.
Ain't going anywhere.
I know where we'll find you. The next meeting will be April 14th. It will be in this room. It is the funding meeting, so that is a big one. All the organizations like to come back and hear about that one. And then, like I said, approved applications hopefully should be coming your way March 4th. And then you guys will be reviewing them, and we'll be back in here in April. If any questions arise, feel free to reach out.
Any commissioner announcements? Additional comments? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I move to adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.